Hey guys, it's Wednesday again, 6 p.m. We are back with Carla V Thinks Out Loud. I'm comedian Carla Vasquez. Episode 11, our guest is John Cuellar.
Hey, yeah, hey.
Am I saying that right? Cuellar?
Well, you could say Cuellar, or you could go heavy on the pronunciation and be like Cuellar.
Cuellar.
And you could do that. But you don't necessarily.
Right.
Whatever. I always say John Cuellar.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm doing okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
my
that's
last
good.
name's a weird one too. When I first looked you up and people were like, John Cuellar is cool, I looked with a Q. I was like, I can't find this guy.
That's, you know what? A lot of people would think it starts off with a Q. I think it used to be a Q, and then somewhere as it filtered through America, it became a C, is what I think happened.
The Quaz, like the Bosques. Anyway, we're here. That's some name talk. Brown name talks with Carla V. John Cuellar is a comedian here in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yes.
You've been doing that for how long now?
I've been doing it for over 10 years. I always say, like to say that I've worked my way to the middle or the bottom of Albuquerque comedy in these 10 years, which is not easy to do, you know? There have been so many mediocre comics that have come and gone, and I'm just glad to be one that's stayed throughout different waves of comedy. It's crazy, too, because there's a few people that have been around for about as long as I have, maybe a little bit longer, like Sarah Kennedy and Kurt Fletcher and a few other people I know I'm forgetting, but all really guys that have been doing it for a long time. And it's interesting when you see the different waves. I call them classes or waves.
It's true, yeah, the classes of people. Yeah, you still have a few. I think Royal's a little newer, but there's like those ones when even I started and was like, oh, these are the older classes, and look up to them and
well, it's
be funny in front of them.
Well, you become, I think you like do this thing where you're trying to figure out what comedy is up there and how you're going to do it. Eventually you get a little bit of traction or a sense of where you are or who you are. And then as you see people come and go and you keep doing it, you're like, oh man, I should be a lot better at this. But still, it's like about persevering and being just, you have to love the art.
Yes.
And really, if you don't like the people, that makes it a lot harder. Because there have been so many times where my incentive for going to the mic has been to see people that I love. You know?
Yeah. Even now, it's like that's where I see my friends and where I get to do what I love. So it's a kind of nice thing. Like I went to Tucson for a week and didn't really go out. I didn't do comedy for almost a week. I did a podcast there, but I was like itching for it, but also it was nice to like not go out every night. Like, not every night. But
what podcast did you do there?
Oh, do you know Peyton Moore? Do you remember Peyton? Who's here, who's a comedian here, and Mary, his girlfriend?
And you know what? I want to say I know I've seen him.
Everybody used to get him and Robert Eister confused. But he's out in Tucson. Right. He's out in Tucson now, and he started a podcast. What's the Score with PJ Moore? It'll be posted soon to YouTube, and it's all about like movie and music appreciation, like soundtrack appreciation. So we watched Wet Hot American Summer, and then together, which I've seen it before, but he had like copious amount of notes already taken on the movie. So we watched that together, and then we like did a podcast, like an hour and a half about the movie and like deep dives into like different scenes and stuff.
Cool.
And like the soundtrack. So anyway, I'll post that soon whenever it's posted onto YouTube. But that was fun. So I was out there, and then my sister lives there, and then I just stayed a little longer with her. And friends live out there. Yeah, I used to live there, so I have other friends there that I got to see. But it was nice. But coming back, it was like, all right, I need to get out to comedy. So last night, was like, is the garage happening? I need to get out. And there weren't too many of us there, but it was like nice to still just practice because I can throw whatever out when I'm there. And
that's cool.
Don't judge. But yeah, so you've been doing it for a while, and I'm jumping around a little.
That's all
because
right.
you also have am I wrong, the longest running podcast here in town?
I would say yes, but I know there might be one or two that I'm just not familiar with or I can't recall right now.
Gotcha.
Alan,
you guys have a lot of subscribers.
We have a few. I mean, it's the.
500.
Yeah, that's a good amount.
Yeah, it's fairly good, but then we'll look at some other podcasts that are fairly mainstream and are like, oh, we got a ways to go. I mean, it was interesting because we've been podcasting for a while, and initially it was started off, Alan and I was just running the open mic.
Where was that at?
That was at Nexus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and oh man.
Before Buck. Okay.
Well, okay, Buck did his show at the West Side. Nexus, and we did our open mic at the Nexus on Pan American.
Okay.
And so I think ours was a little bit before his. He was having a show. Maybe they kind of overlapped. But I always heard good things about his show.
Yeah, they were fun.
The open mics at the Nexus on Pan American, they got... I can't believe they let us run those for that long.
How long were you there?
For a good 2 to 3 years. And it was... okay, Albuquerque comedy was still in its infancy of open mics and comics and people trying to figure out what the proper conduct was for certain venues. So I was running this open mic, and I didn't know the damage that open micers could do to a microphone in a family restaurant setting. So there were a few nights where, I don't feel it was ever my job to censor anyone. Like, I figure you're a grown adult. You should be able to read the room, and it's comedy. But also, I wasn't really, I guess I wasn't too aware of how turned off people could be by certain types of comedy. So there would be some nights where people would scream things that you probably wouldn't want to hear while you're eating dinner in the next room. And think of some of the bits.
I know my brain is going like...
You've been to an open mic. We've all been open to open mics, and you think about, what bit would I probably not want to hear if I was with my family, but most of the other time I might be open to it, And we've all heard, stuff. We've all tried stuff where later on you're like, did I really say that? Oh, okay. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Right. Sometimes it turns into something. So I couldn't believe that they used to let us do that, there for as long as we did. Also, some comics were known to drink and smoke in the parking lot, which it's fun to laugh about now because nobody ever got hurt. Right. But back then, we were being so irresponsible about what we did at those open mics, and I feel many instances it actually detracted from the comedy that we were trying to progress in,
Right, and people seeing comedians and then just being like, oh, they're out in the parking lot in plain view, and it kind of puts a bad taste in their mouth for the next, and then maybe they're not so open to go to another mic or like a show or something. Yeah. That makes sense. Huh.
So that's just, it's a human experience. It's interesting to look back on it now and be like, wow, maybe there was a lot we could have done differently. But there are some great nights, some wild nights, there some stuff that I'll never forget, and it was a great experience to do that. And that's how I met Alan. He came to the open mic a few times, and one day he's like, hey, do you want to just hang out and do this podcast? So we just started talking into a microphone, and eventually built momentum. And initially it was patterned after the old Opie and Anthony shows, where it was like 3 or 4 comics sitting in, just having a good time, drinking beers, talking about outrageous stuff. And that was fun for a few years, but it was more of a fun party atmosphere. It wasn't really a whole lot of... There was some serious conversation.
Is that why it was called Stoner Bros?
Oh, that was
Alan's.
Yeah,
we were wondering about Stoner Bros, what that was, because that came up on searches of things.
Well, it's like Alan's first podcast away from me, before we even met, was called Stoner Bros. And then apparently, from what he said, these Stoner Bros, they got obsessed with Jesus, and they gave up. They traded the bong for the Bible. What? Which, hey, whatever you want.
Wait, there were other bros in it with him?
There are 2 or 3 other bros.
And they found Jesus.
You can change that YouTube, right?
Yeah, I think there's some other reason behind it, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So, and I used to have a podcast named We've Got Problems with this guy named Mike Long. I don't know if you've heard stories about
I've
Mike
heard the
Long.
name, but one of those people that I've never met.
And that was always fun because we had this great chemistry. We both, were in the throes of a major addiction at the time to alcohol or whatever else.
Yeah.
And so we had a great time, but it was hard to connect and show up on the same nights.
Because you had problems.
Yeah, we used to do 3-hour podcasts.
We've got problems, so we can't run a podcast.
Exactly. And then so after Alan and I met each other, we came up with Potential Problems podcast.
Yes,
and
Potential Problems podcast.
Yeah, we've done it long enough to have a lot of our the Albuquerque comics on, which is the main point of it.
I enjoy watching it. It's a really fun one. Like, here, I mean, we get more in a deep time. We're silly here, but you guys are, like, a lot of fun. I don't know. I just feel like my comedy brain's on and, like, yeah.
Oh, dude, that time you were on, there's this natural chemistry that you get with people that are on the podcast. And that was your first time. And
yeah, that was my first one with you guys. And I had never met Alan before. And Alan is rad, like, Alan Clark.
He's a good dude.
So it was, like just got along with you guys. It was just like hanging out that I forgot that we were recording things.
Exactly. Kind of like we're doing now. It's just a good time, and that offers for itself to natural conversation, which is usually the best type of conversation. It's
hard to get these days. I think comedians weirdly are very good conversationalists. I was talking last night with somebody, with Chuck Parker, about just like, because we're good listeners, good conversationalists, because we're listening for like potential jokes or things.
I'm sorry, I zoned out there. What were you saying? I'm just kidding.
But we're listening for like potential jokes or like things that we can, I don't know, like riff off of, or like, it's just, I think we're invested with conversation. So that's what I think our podcasts are. And people just like the comedic relief, because I think comedians' podcasts are probably more watched than like some other genres, right? I mean, I don't know.
It's more interesting.
Yeah.
What are your other non-comic podcasts that you like to listen to? Do you have any other?
I don't watch that many that aren't comedians, actually. Okay. I think I might I watched some serial killer, or listened to a serial killer one, like 3 episodes on the way back from Tucson the other day when I wasn't napping. But so serial killer one, but yeah, pretty much all like.
Have you guys
comedians.
ever seen Camping with Steve?
What's that?
No,
Patty's really into him. He's a Canadian guy that just goes anywhere and camps, and he'll do like rogue shit.
Is he in a van?
I don't know.
That's Van Life.
That's a different dude.
That's a different
She knows all the even. Do you have any that you watch that are non-comedy?
I watched. I try and take in as much as I can. Like if I'm walking or running or something like that. I listened to Dr. Death recently. There's a couple seasons of that.
What's that about?
That's about Dr. Christopher Dench, a neurosurgeon who was paralyzing and killing his patients through his incompetence.
Oh, shit. I think I've heard there, but there's a lot of like death within the like medical field in that way. Like those nurses that kill patients and they think it's out of mercy, but they're just murdering people.
Yeah, well, Dr. Dench was a neurosurgeon who, by all accounts, should have known what he was doing, but because he had the schooling, but anytime he tried to do a procedure, most of the time he just fucked it up.
No way.
And he actually operated on his best friend, who knew about his history of fuck-ups. And, things didn't go well. So
they were doing coke the night before.
That was the claim.
Know this guy?
That was the claim, yes.
Yeah, we watched the documentary.
With Alec. Did you see the documentary? And then they have a series on Peacock.
Yeah, they have that series. I haven't watched with Alec Baldwin and shit. Yeah,
that's surprisingly good,
Huh.
I thought it was
like
going
a
to be
scripted
bullshit.
one. I like the documentary and like the non-scripted. Like the actual whatever ones. Those are good.
Documentaries. Are you a fan of documentaries?
Again, murder ones, a lot of those. But I do, even going back to podcasts, I listen to like This American Life from NPR and other shit like that. Are whatever's. But
I do like Terry Gross. I want to kiss Terry Gross on the cheek because she's a treasure.
Terry Gross looks like, but I always know her voice.
She's
Terry Gross.
Well, she's a 60-something-year-old lady, so she's very sweet looking. I'm guessing, but she's one of, I think, possibly one of the most boring, but one of the best interviewers ever, depending on who you are.
Her voice is sedating, but in a nice way, like you're getting a hug while going to sleep.
I think she gets
a lot of...
That's called
like Cuddle Carla. Fucking give her a hug while you're going to sleep. Her voice is like cuddling.
It is actually. She I guess she got treated rather poorly by Gene Simmons during an interview, and that's kind of like one of her classic stories.
I don't even know that one. Gene Simmons.
Yeah, she has a great podcast. Bill Maher's podcast is great. It's basically his show just the next day. Sometimes
listened to a couple of those.
Yeah, sometimes you don't get the visuals because he'll be like, and this, and he holds up an image, and you're like, okay, I don't know what that is, but. Because it's a podcast.
Just listening.
And then, what are some of the other ones? Roman History Podcast, one of the best podcasts ever. I think the guy's name is Mike Duncan, and these podcasts cover from the beginning of Rome, the founding of Rome,
cool.
to the invasion by the Goths. I guess the last major invasion by the Goths.
Dude,
and
that's
so
rad.
it's really amazing. It's pretty awesome. And it's all out there free on YouTube or on Podbean or probably Spotify. It might make its way there. But that's some of the podcasts that I like. And then going back to documentaries.
Yeah.
What other docs have you seen?
I just watched one recently about Dennis Nielsen, that British, or I guess he's from Scotland, but he was in England killing people.
Oh, okay.
Bunch of, but like he got caught after 3, and then they're like he couldn't remember the names or identities of the rest.
Oh, wow.
So there's just a bunch of people that like he might have killed them. I don't know.
Yeah.
That one's a really good one. He like hit him in his floorboards until like the maggots and the smell was too much, and then he burn them outside under his trash.
Is it
Good
the
times.
same guy who was flushing body parts down his
Yep,
toilet?
that's how he got caught. Yeah, because the neighbors. he
What
was
a
in the
moron.
he was in the attic trying to flush him, and then he was
Yeah.
like, "Can't flush red. I'll just put him in my closet in these bags. Nobody will notice." And bones are like coming out of the pipes. And
He was a hoarder, huh?
yeah, he was a body hoarder. Body hoarder. Ew. But yeah, he would do weird things like powder up the bodies after he killed them, and then like masturbate over them. Because apparently, like the first time he saw death was his grandpa, who looked all like chalky and stuff, and I guess his grandpa like molested him.
Oh,
So
I
now
thought
he has
that
a
was
weird
just a weird
like
tie-in.
yeah.
Those
Fun times.
those-
Psychology is fun, but that's why I like watching those. Just the psychology of it.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, again, it's human experience, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe you or I might not ever have that, but just by pure luck, this person had that experience, and it really fucked them up and
Wild,
pushed them in
yes.
a dark direction. Other documentaries, I saw this the Val Kilmer documentary recently, where
What?
it's his he has this amazing
know that.
VHS footage of him behind the scenes of most of his major movies. And do you know much about Val Kilmer?
Not really. I mean, I watch his movies and stuff.
One of
Willow is my favorite.
Oh, he's so great
I
in
love
that.
Willow.
Yeah,
He is great
I
in
think
that.
that might be his best part.
He is great in that. Yeah.
That or the Jim Morrison. I mean, I guess
Oh,
that's,
yeah,
that's
he is kind of the
a
Jim
little bit
Morrison.
tropish, but it's still really awesome. I
Good.
think. And then,
But he had the
some-
VHS tapes of what?
Oh yeah, of him just behind the scenes of movies, just with his co-stars cutting up
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
from like some of his first stuff he ever did.
Dude, that's rad.
Yeah. So you see these Hollywood icons, at least from our era, that are young, guys
Yeah.
just starting out. It's pretty fascinating. And
I'm gonna
the
watch
story
that.
of Val Kilmer is pretty interesting in itself. Here's this guy who was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, like through the end of the 1980s, from Top Gun, it blew him up to Thunderheart, and then to Jim Morrison. Like he was in some big pictures.
Batman. Yeah.
Batman to close it out. That was kind of the
Yeah.
end of his big fame. And after that, I think he did The Saint, and then he did Wonderland. His portrayal as John Holmes, which is one of my favorite
Loves
movies. That's
Wonderland.
really
I need to
good.
rewatch that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And then he did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which
That's
is
a great
really
movie.
amazing.
I love that movie.
And
Oh,
right
I forgot
after
about
that,
that.
he did his career kind of took a
Slowed
little bit of a
down.
downturn.
A hiatus or
And
something.
then he got throat cancer in 2016, I think,
How did I
2015.
not hear about this? What the heck?
Nobody heard about it. And then he had this Instagram page that I started following really early, and he looked pretty rough in them.
Oh,
He had
man.
just had throat surgery.
Damn.
And so I'm looking at this as one of my heroes from when I was a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard the
And
update on it?
what's that now?
Have you heard the update on it?
His cancer?
No, the update on his voice.
No, is it with the AI?
Yeah, you've seen that, right?
Yeah, that was amazing.
What?
So that he
Wait,
has
so he can't talk?
so many. Yeah, he can't. He has one of these days. Whereas, and as an actor, who your voice was one of your tools.
Yeah,
you
that's
think
part of all
about
you
what that
have.
means to a person. To have that taken
Wow.
away. I mean, it's pretty. I mean, he's just another guy. I don't know him, but as a person, to see someone deal with that, I think it brings them closer to just a more identifiable level.
It's true.
Yeah,
it is true.
So anyway, he had this surgery, and he's looking a little rough. He's starting to make a comeback, you could say. And they did this cool thing where they have so many sound clips of him because of all the movie work he did and all the publicity and stuff. And so what they're able to do is reconstruct his voice. and they can have it read a script. Is that what they did? They
did that, and his son
sounds
exactly fucking like him, dude. Exactly.
Dude. Yeah. So then that's crazy.
Yeah. So
it's like a.
And there's this really touching part where he talks about how he feels depressed sometimes because he's selling a version of himself that used to be. He's not this person anymore, but he's selling it. And then
still not him.
Yeah, and then he says that the thing that brings him out of it is when fans greet him, that they're so happy to see him that it doesn't matter. He's just happy that they're happy. So I thought that was a really sweet thing that, you would never think of Val Kilmer being a sweet guy, back from all the stories you might have heard back in the day. But when you hear that, you're like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
The things that happen to people and the way that it can change them. For sure. Yeah, just experiences. I mean.
And we were just talking about that. When you see someone as a version of their former self, it's very hard sometimes to let them progress or to let your vision of them progress.
Oh, definitely. I even feel that within my own family, that I was a different version of myself even 5 to 10 years ago. I had some bouts with like addiction or just mental health and things. And I think because I don't have kids, never got married, and they look at me still as sort of a child in a way sometimes. And now they're getting out of that just by me being like, okay, I'm here. I'm not going to be timid when I'm around you. Because you revert sometimes when you're around family.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So now I'm just like, okay, I got to be me, my adult, whatever, and they'll take me more seriously. But it's been some time. Or even old friends that I've fallen out with through certain issues. Like I had a friend Jordan, we had a falling out, and then
Michael Jordan? What did you do?
No, but we are on the same birthday. My friend Jordan, she and I had a falling out a couple years ago, and then we got back into contact. And just in 2 years, a lot can happen to a person to where it makes them sort of grow up and realize how they were, even myself, and change that. And then maybe we can come back and have a better relationship now. And luckily that's happened. And some people, you just never. It's like even having a relationship, like you'll be very on the same page for a while, and then people grow in different directions depending on what happens or, just their brain patterns and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so I think that's why I don't have too much beef with some of my exes because I'm like, whatever, we're different people now. Good riddance. Just kidding. No, but yeah, the change. Okay, going back to the Val Kilmer. So even people are like either freezing themselves for the cryogenics, whatever, cryogenics. Like Walt Disney's in Phoenix right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and then they also are going to do like these singularity of like consciousness. Have you heard of these? Where they're going to take people as like kind of with, instead of the voice, just like their mind, their memories, and make a person. People are like, yeah, I'm going to be alive again. That's so egotistical for you to just be like, I'm the greatest person, so I have to live again. Because your consciousness is actually not going to be there. You're not going to be there. Like me here now, if I did that, would not be the same person that it'd be like a clone, basically.
Yeah. Well, not to get too
Doesn't
deep
that make
here,
sense? No, I want to know more. That's why I bring it up. I'm like, I don't know enough.
But the Roman philosopher Lucretius,
ooh, yes, philosophized me.
He hypothesized that the human. Are you a fan of Lucretius? You know Lucretius.
No, I said philosophize me, please. Let's get philosophical. Let's get philosophical.
He wrote that your consciousness is actually all of your physical attributes of your brain, like the chemical reactions, the gray matter, the actual physical mind that you have, along with whatever else it is that makes our consciousness. That combined together is what makes us who we are. Whatever gives us life, and then the experiences and the actual
the external
internal parts of your mind, like that all combines to give you your consciousness, and one can't exist without the other. So that's why your experience is consciousness. That's why it's not going to be the same once you progress to a different plane of existence,
because they will have a different sort of consciousness split based on what their environmental or like whatever it might be. Because even something now, it's like our environmental, our genetics, and economical like situations really shape us too. Apparently, like in psychology, they say that. And I was even hearing like the different routes he said that we could take these serial killers, and one of them, the like cross country killer or whatever they called him, he got like 50 plus people. Anyway, Tommy Sells. is his name. Tommy Lynn Sells. But he had meningitis as a child that apparently gave him some like brain tissue issues. That's fun to say. Brain tissue issues. And so I was listening to this, but I had meningitis as a kid too. And it's giving me like long-term other like issues. Like I do look like I have brain scarring and like all these other migraine stuff. But I'm like, damn, like even that, just our environmental things, like he's a murderer now because he got fucked up from like the same thing I have, and I'm just like a weirdo
that's
that
why
talks too
funny.
much. I know, maybe like unlock some sort of things. So I think of things like that where like
I've heard of people getting head trauma and then being completely different, like Roseanne Barr, fucking Sam Kinison.
Right, and I always wonder because I was like 2 or something when I got it, so I was wondering like what would I have? I mean, should, could, would I, whatever, and let go. But I wonder what I would have been like if I didn't have that happen.
I think Roseanne was 5.
Yeah, she was pretty
Wow.
young.
Yeah. And then my sister, she's like, you're so smart and blah, blah, blah. You have a very high IQ. And I'm like, would I have been smarter? Or maybe the brain scarring added and unlocked some shit like Lucy, that Scarlett Johansson movie. I love that. She calls her mom. She's like, Mom, I feel everything. All right, tangents. Yeah. I know everything. No, I got electrocuted 3 times in the last year.
How?
And I feel like my spidey senses are even more on than before. I have some intuition.
I don't know if being tasered by the cops counts as being electrocuted. I mean, technically, yes, but...
So you've been electrocuted?
Oh, no, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
Just asking.
Not cops, it's stupid shit. So like a year ago, I was El Patio downtown, Harvard. On Harvard. I was there picking up a delivery, and this weird bang happened outside, like, I don't know, and then the electricity went out to where, like, the outlets were sparking, and I felt, like, a surge of, like, electricity through me, and, like, my hair even felt weird, like, I was, like, my hairs were standing up, and everybody was, like, it was weird because I was close to a wall. Anyway, so that happened, and then the other day I got back from Tucson. It was a whole fucking journey because I had migraines on the way and, like, couldn't see, so I had to pull over and nap here and there.
Oh, no.
But then I get home, and it's like 3 a.m, and I go to plug in this, I have like an extension cord to these rope lights on my bed because I'm 16.
That's cute. That's cool. That's awesome.
Yes, my rope lights. Went to plug it in. The end of the extension cord just like fell apart in my hand as I went to plug in, so only the metal was exposed, so the metal to metal hit, and I was like, zzz, and my whole apartment lights went out. And I still don't have electricity except for one outlet for my microwave, and my refrigerator is working, so that's cool.
You checked the breaker box?
Oh, yeah, and I even went outside, so this is the third. Carla was not smart.
I think she's a little confused on breaker box and other
No, there was one inside.
The
breaker's inside, right? And then I go outside, and there wasn't a breaker box with actual switches. There were just the things with the knobby doos.
Oh, yeah. Tune in Tokyo. I've done that before.
Yeah, I live in an old-ass place, and the thing's unlocked. I'm like, whatever, and I'm tired. Go get electrocuted again.
Oh, dude.
Fucking idiot. And I was trying to go to bed, and my whole body was felt like I was surging with electricity for like 3 hours. I was like,
Did you try and shoot a lightning bolt?
I want to. Yeah, everybody was saying I'm going to be like, what's his name? Jamie. I haven't watched it, but Jamie Foxx in the new Spider-Man or some shit.
Electro.
Yeah, Electro. I'm going to be Electro.
There was this horrible TV show I used to love when I was younger. It's called Misfits of Science. And it had this one guy who was struck by lightning. And he could throw lightning bolts from his hands. And I don't know if he could throw lightning bolts from other parts of his body, but definitely from his hands. And then, and shoot lightning bolts from a dick. No, dude, it's just gonorrhea, bro. It's not lightning bolts. So, and I was hoping that maybe you might have some sort of post lightning or post electric abilities.
I hope so. I'm waiting for my spidey senses. Oh, and then everything's Misfits related with electrocution. I have my fucking dentures in it. It's bothering my slurring here. Anyway, but Misfits, the show, have you watched that? It's like a British show about like 20-somethings who are doing this sort of like, they all got in trouble and they're doing community service and jumpsuits, whatever. It's kind of a dark comedy, and they all get like electric or like struck by lightning, and then they all get random ass powers. Like,
oh no,
some of them are silly and some of them are rad powers. But it has Robert Sheehan in it, who's from the Umbrella Academy.
Okay, I've heard of the Umbrella Academy.
He's beautiful.
How old is he?
He's like my age or maybe a year younger.
Oh, okay. So
he has
you
this
date
curly,
this man.
Yeah, he's too pretty for me. Like, I can look at some boys and be like, you're too attractive for me, but I definitely appreciate the looks, you know?
Isn't that funny when, just people that you're attracted to, if you're on an elevator and somebody gets in the elevator and they're kind of homely looking and maybe don't smell so good, you'll edge away if they stand too close.
Right.
But if someone really good looking gets on the elevator and you're just like, oh, hey, and then they stand too close, most of the time you won't back off. You're just like, oh, it's all right. It's just a human, it's just an animal reaction. It's
you're like, they're flirting with me.
It's just, pheromones and mammalistic things. But,
I know, chemistry fucks us over so much. It makes us think that, like, we're really good with other people sometimes. You're like, no, it's just the chemistry. It's just that all humans want to fuck.
Well, in your 20s, that's what you're supposed to do.
I did that in my 20s.
Same here, man.
I'm getting too old for the just, like... Now I'm, like, back to the age where I'm like, maybe a friend with benefits who I don't really have to deal with. But, like, once in a while, let's hook up. But still not... I don't know. It's hard to date as a comedian, though. I don't know. Not trying to get, like, too detailed into it, but, like, I don't know. I've talked to other people in here about dating as a comedian. I don't know. Maybe for a girl it's different, too.
Well, I'm currently in a relationship for about a year and a half now. And she's a sweet girl, but she's not a comedian. She's not really an artist. She's just... like a civilian, normie. She goes to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
She doesn't have mental problems, you mean?
She's stable, is what you're telling
She's more stable, we'll say. That's why we're a good fit, is because she's not perfect. She's kind of like my version of perfect for, she's perfect for me.
Aww.
But at the same time, I've come home with recordings of sets that have gone well, and I've not because I'm a douchebag who's a narcissist, but because I want to listen to how the set goes.
Yeah, I do it too. Yeah.
And because she happens to be with me a majority of the time, I'll occasionally put on a set that I think I did particularly well with, or a joke that I need to listen back to. And she has no fucking interest whatsoever. Really? No. She went to an open mic with me, and she said that was fun.
I didn't get to meet her that night, but I did see her go with you. I think you guys left after that.
We stayed for a couple comics afterwards because it was already 9 and stuff. But I bombed in front of her for the most part. And
well,
I don't know about
you had a really good last joke. I can't remember what it was.
But it was a good time.
Yeah, it was so fun.
And for us, we know how that works.
Yes.
But as we were walking out, she was like, that was great. I was like, that was not great. But just don't ever say it was great unless I say it first. But I'll never say it first.
We're all self-deprecating. We can have a great set and then get off and be like, wow, this, and this. And other people are like, dude, what are you talking about? You did awesome. And I forgot to say this, because they don't know what we forgot to do or say.
Exactly.
So that's our own afterwards, a little beating. But it makes us better.
It does. And one thing that I have noticed is that the more time and it's all trade-off, things you want to do in life, the energy you want to put into whatever it is.
Yeah.
You only have a certain amount of energy each day that you can pour into something or into different things. And so I've progressively spent more time in this relationship, and it's been a trade-off. I've had less time, and I've been taking writing classes because I just want to get a lot better at that.
Right.
And I've progressively had less and less time for stand-up comedy. I've made it out to the mics less, I've committed to at least trying to be out there at least once a week, but I'd really like to be out there more. It's just difficult to do things as well as you want to do them when you're trying to split up your time so much.
Yeah, but you're bettering for the long run, the comedy. I mean, you're still keeping the tool sharp, and but you're doing writing classes and stuff, which is later going to play back into the
That's
comedy.
what I'm hoping.
That's rad.
So it's kind of a trade-off of your time, and it's one of those things where if you're a comic and if you want to get really good at your art and you want to delve into this, you could argue that having a relationship is not the best thing to do at the time.
It's hard.
And I've talked about this with other comics who they were in a relationship when they got into comedy, and all of a sudden they had less and less time, but they're like, this is really important to them. And I think as a comic, there's you're in your prime at a certain point to where you can probably put out for the most gigs that you can put out. You're younger, you're in your prime.
Yeah, and the 2 year in market.
Yeah, exactly. You could still play rooms with 20-year-olds and have a really great laughs. And you could probably play rooms with older people and still be funny, you know. So that's kind of like a good prime area to be in. And there's a few other comics in Albuquerque who are kind of at the same point that are pushing really hard. And I think that if you want to make the most of that time and you want to pour all of your energy into that, it's hard to have a relationship and be committed to that person the way most people, you know, require you to be.
And that's what I like. I think until I'm more stable in my own life and with like comedy and things, that's when I would look for a relationship. But I'm also not like super the relationship-y type. Yeah. Which is even as a kid, I was like, I don't think I'll ever get married or have kids. And like the intuitive whatever. And now, not in a sad way, but now I'm like, shouldn't have kids. Getting those tubes tied for medical reasons, whatever. But I'm like, cool, that gives me even more of a, because at 35, like the biological clock is supposed to be ticking. That's what I hear. And now knowing that that is not an option, I mean, they could harvest my eggs later, but knowing that's not an option even made me push harder into comedy. Be like, okay, this box is like no longer checkable, so that's one less thing. That's a good thing. This box, this box you can't fill it, but you can fill it. Just not with a baby. All right, and that's what I'm getting my tubes tied. No, baby. But that has pushed me farther into it. And then like the dating thing, I'm like, because I want to go on the road and do more things like that, and that's harder to do. And then being a female comedian, I feel like guys, it makes them like cute, or like some girls would be like, oh, he's so funny, he's so cute, and the guys like, it's, I don't know, they turn off. I mean, maybe it's the subject matter I'm talking about. They're like, this girl, I don't know. Or guys get like intimidated because you're funnier than them or something. And I just love comedy. So doing that, what else was I gonna say? Oh, and talking about the schooling stuff, I just found out that like because I do Uber Eats. And it got, Postmates, which I used to do, got taken over by Uber Eats. Okay. If that makes sense. So they still keep all my deliveries from there and put it into this, which counts towards being like a gold star or something on Uber Eats. And they give you all these fucking like benefits, even free college through ASU online. That's cool. So I'm thinking of, because I just maintain it all the time, you just have to do like 40 deliveries a month to maintain it or something once you're that level. Dude. So when I was talking to my sister, I was like, I just want to take a class here and there, like writing or business and marketing or something, just to like get better at this. Yes. Like that's my like, in the next couple of months, I'm going to be signing up for some like online school shit. Fuck yeah, like, we be right. One better one.
Let's do that. Oh no.
Why do we suck? Yeah, we did it. Took 3 times. Third time. We have rhythm.
It's because we didn't do this. Oh, see, first time. That's
and then blow it up, and then. You guys remember that?
What's your favorite patty cake rhyme? Or your favorite jump rope rhyme?
I don't remember those. There's something about like monkeys on the bed.
What about Miss Mary Mac, all dressed in black?
There was one about putting a baby in a bathtub and like filling it up with water.
Oh yeah.
There was something really like, all these are really sad songs. It's like gotta drown the baby or something.
What about
even like Ring Around the Rosie was like all about the plague or some shit.
Well, It's Raining, It's Pouring didn't bode well for the old man who was snoring. He bumped his head, went to bed, and didn't wake up in the morning.
Dang.
Yeah, now he's dead.
You still remember all this? Good job.
What about the most beloved rhyme of all is King Kong went to Hong Kong to play ping pong with his ding dong.
That's I don't know that one.
This gentleman.
From elementary school, fucking schoolyard shit right there.
That's like y'all's age stuff. I don't know these ones. That was even worse than ours. Mom telling you you're old. I'm getting older by the day.
Oh yeah. What's something that happened recently that made you feel a little bit older?
Everything. I don't know. Even
it's always music with me.
I was gonna say music on the radio. They're like classics and stuff. I'm like, I was like a full grown ass adult. Oh, I know. Coming up this week. Never forget 9/11's on Saturday.
Oh yeah. Huh.
And that I was already like I was driving myself to school when I heard about this, and thinking about people like some of the comedians I hang out with. They were like 4. I was 15. Okay. And they were like 4 and 5. I mean, you guys are like older and more of adult, but I was like,
30. Oh yeah.
You guys are yeah.
I woke up by my mom saying, "We're being invaded."
I know my mom was like, you might have to come home because they were saying Alamogordo, where I went to high school, was going to be like in the top 10 because we had the stealth fighters, and New Mexico in general was going to be like the first to be bombed because of the nuclear shit and whatever. Yeah. So, well, yeah, my mom was like, we're going to Canada. I'm like, Mom, you're from Mexico. Let's just go to Mexico. She's like, nope, Canada. All right. Like, fuck that. Yeah.
So you were driving yourself to school and...
Yeah, and I heard it because I was like running late as I usually was, so didn't like listen to news or nothing. My mom had already left to work. And
didn't they send you guys
driving
home?
Yeah, after like second period, they sent us home, especially all the base kids. Like, they immediately sent them back to the base, which I don't know why, if that's where they were going to bomb with the stealth, but whatever. Yeah. Go home and get murdered, children.
Military. When there's a national security situation, the military children are gathered up first.
Yep.
And
yeah.
They lock down the base.
I was a Navy brat, so we were always told that, like, any moment you're going to be pulled out if something happens.
What happened? What do you remember where you were?
Yeah, where you
were? Oh, yeah. I was pretty big time into drug dealing at that point.
Oh, nice.
And was more worried. Lucrative. I was more worried about the borders being shut down.
Oh, yeah.
Because I wasn't going to get my shit.
Oh, dude. Schwag and...
this was BC bullshit. BC Bud, all the good shit back in the 2000s was coming down.
Oh, yeah, dude. It was hard. It was hard to get stuff across the border for a long time after.
I must have held on to 10 pounds for fucking at least 6 months, just siphoning it off.
Yeah, dude, it's interesting that you bring that up because that was another one of the and then for a while they had this bullshit commercial that was like, if you buy drugs, you support the Taliban.
Oh,
and
my
now look, the
gosh,
Taliban's
dude,
running Afghanistan.
I know.
Dude, that's crazy. And that too made me feel old of like knowing what the Taliban was back then, and then now it's like, oh fuck, like this is
like
back in a whole adult. Yeah, there was some like lady on NPR who was like, right now she like runs some like women's like college school sort of like thing, and she's like, right now they're like fine with us and doing our whatever, and like, don't you think that they're just gonna come in whatever because you guys are teaching like women's lib and whatever. I don't know. So she's like, we're trying to stay on their best side and this and that.
I saw a video of them grabbing little girls out of houses for marriage, like young.
Yeah, get to round up their virgins.
Like exactly, like
that's
11,
crazy.
12 years old.
Unless they're Jerry Lee Lewis
sad.
and they play the piano, I'm not okay with that. And they're his cousin.
Unless they're Robert Plant. And
Robert Plant. Or
like Steven Tyler.
Oh my God.
He fucking is 13. Dated some chick that was 13.
Yeah.
It's creepy to me too that he put Liv Tyler in one of his like sexiest videos. Like, let me have my daughter be stripping and like be really hot during me playing guitar and like, I don't know.
Remember Sarah Silverstein was in it, I think, that video.
What's that? Oh, Alicia Silverstone. Yeah. Clueless chick.
I would put her up as a classic. I just watched
the 3
Aerosmith videos from that era, which was Amazing, Crazy, and Crying.
Yeah. Those were all like a story, weren't they? No, but I remember, they rolled ballads, up on. Yeah, I remember the 80s music videos because we weren't allowed to watch too much like TV like in our house. No video games. They weren't like that strict, but we were in national parks. They're like, go outside and fucking play. But we were able to watch music videos like MTV. We could watch all day or whatever. VH1. They were fine with music. I'm like, do you see all the shit in these music videos, Mom and Dad? But you won't let me watch Simpsons. Like,
what's your favorite classic music video? Do you have one from like when you were younger that you used to watch and be like, that's fucking cool?
Yeah, Smooth Criminal.
Oh yeah, Alien Ant Farm?
No.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, just because he like did the leany thing and they had the cool like mobster shit.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Not that I love him now. I'm on the fence about him, but me and my sister would wake up like every Saturday and watch this VHS early in the morning. That was all the shit we'd recorded of Michael Jackson throughout the week.
That's cool.
It'd be like 5 a.m. We like have this like morning thing, and our parents would wake up and be like, Michael Jackson again. We're like, yeah. But did you have a favorite? Huh? Really?
Oh yeah.
Now I feel like just kidding. No,
I think the jury's still out.
That's what I'm saying. I'm on the fence.
Did you see Escaping Neverland or whatever it was called? I mean, if that shit's true,
that was bullshit.
Michael
did not fucking molest no kids.
I don't.
He's the king. Leave him alone.
But what about the staring at the anus? That seemed like such a powerful testimony.
Oh, my friend Marco Morales. Oh, he's a powerful testimony. funny. The whole thing, and now that he's dead, who knows? And the family is making money off of it. I don't know. People are capitalizing on like murder and pedophilia now. It's that's all that people watch. I'm like, is this wrong? Are we capitalizing on these people dying? Yeah, here I go again. It's my friend Marco, a comedian. Shout out to Marco Morales in El Paso. Oh, dude, get me on a show. He said, when you come back to EP, I'll be down there. Actually, I might be down there like next month. Anyway. Side note,
I heard you had a good time down there.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Met a bunch of the comedians. They're all super nice. Trying to get some of them some shows up here too.
Oh, cool.
Link them up with people here.
That would be great, man.
Kind of get the Southwest scene sort of linked together. Who knows? I just like talking to comedians. Wait, what was your classic music video?
I don't know if it was my favorite, but probably I saw it recently. One of the most memorable ones was Billy Joel's stupid "We Didn't Start the Fire."
We didn't start the fire. That was that era.
And it has like, it's an interesting video because it has like a progression of different eras. Like this couple gets married in the 50s, and then in the 60s, the mom has a headache because someone's playing violin. And then in the 70s, the girl burns her bra and the guy burns his draft card. And then in the 80s, the dad's old and he dies.
It's
and
the whole story. It's like about a boy, but a music video.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
Not about a boy. What's that? Boyhood?
Who was that?
Boyhood, that movie that was like filmed over like 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
With Kevin Bacon.
Was that good?
I didn't watch it.
No, I didn't either.
I'm just saying, it's like the music video.
Incredibles 2 took 14 years to make.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It was still good?
It was good. It was a good second one. Yeah, she's still got those hips and that ass.
Yeah. That actress. I'm trying to think of her name.
There's
Yeah, she has that.
The only complaint I had
What's her
was they
name?
all sounded
They were in
old.
They all sounded old.
Yeah, the chick sounded so old.
Holly who?
Holly Hunter.
Holly Hunter. No.
Is that her name? Holly. No.
There's a bunch of the ladies that sort of look alike.
Holly
and, like,
Hunter. Yeah, it's Holly Hunter.
That lady.
And she was also in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Was she in that?
She was George Clooney's wife.
I've only watched that once.
Yeah.
I've only seen that once a long time ago because my sister wouldn't stop singing the song, so I was annoyed with it before I even saw it. So it was out of like almost like defiance, and then finally
The trailer song that was always playing.
Yeah.
Not a fan of.
No, it's good. It's a great song. Somebody did it at karaoke recently, but it like I don't know.
Did they do a good job?
I'm bad at liking the things that everybody likes.
Oh,
like
me
this
too,
weird
man.
defiance where I'm like, don't make me like Academy Award winning thing. Just kidding.
What's
whatever.
the most recent music video you've seen? Like a new artist that you saw and you're like, whoa, that's cool.
I love I don't watch in many music videos, I guess. I was watching with my sister some music videos the other day. They were showing her this British rapper, H. This is like little white kid who looks like he's like this nerdy white kid, and he's a badass British rapper. But it's spelled AITCH, like H.
Oh, okay.
So that was a cool one because he was just like flowing and going off. But I don't know. Do you watch a lot of music videos now? And more just like listen to them?
I used to watch for a while during the pandemic. I was watching. There's a couple of MTV channels that actually play music, and one of them is. Gosh, I'm trying to think of what MTV channel it is, but they play just new stuff all the time. And so I saw a lot of newer videos last year. I'm trying to think of the most memorable one because there were a few at a time, that came out during the pandemic.
Do you keep up with a lot of new music, or?
I try to.
Or is it bands that you've listened to that are still making?
I try and keep up with newer music just to see. I'm still a fan of rap, so if something new comes out, I'll check that out.
Who are some of your favorite rappers, like then and now?
Probably favorite of all time is Tupac, but I've listened to like everything ever by him. So, after you've done that for so long, you like try and find other people and like, dive into their music. So of course Eminem and some stuff back in the '80s like NWA and some older school rappers, but. For the most part, like what I'm listening to now is just like random playlist stuff. So like stuff from different genres. It could be, like in my playlist, there's some classical music, there's some Mozart, some Dvorak, some then there's some like techno, like Bosque, or
he's cooler than me.
Stuff like I don't know, Canned Heat from back in the 60s. So it's just a bunch of stuff.
I didn't know Canned Heat.
Yeah, Canned Heat is awesome. I didn't know this. I just knew about the 2 songs they had. One of them was On the Road Again, and then the other one was, something like that. But they have like 2 really good albums, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys are amazing. That's it. No, are they good? Check them out. DaBaby. That was my.
Me and Tyler on here were talking about DaBaby, and I kept calling him Lil Baby.
Well, interestingly enough, he used to be called Baby Jesus, but he felt that was too distracting, so he changed his name to DaBaby.
DaBaby.
And DaBaby had
don't kick the baby.
Yeah, don't shake him, whatever you do. And he had this video with Camila Cabello.
Oh yeah, they have a song together now too, huh?
Yeah, they're
Camila Cabello.
Cabello. Which one is it?
Whatever.
Man,
Sean.
At this point, they're just making fucking.
Shawn Mendes.
Yeah.
Everybody's DaBaby. Wasn't he on like some Doja Cat song or no? Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa.
Apparently she's racist. I don't know.
No.
Apparently he's homophobic. But he has all
said
these
some stuff at his concert that maybe isn't medically accurate.
Man, I listened to that, dude.
It wasn't bad.
I didn't hear nothing bad.
I always get it.
To DaBaby?
Yeah, when he started mouthing off and then they canceled his ass. I didn't hear nothing bad about it. That's what he was saying.
Yeah, I guess. Well, didn't he say that he welcomed you there if you weren't a certain something who was performing a certain act where you had contracted disease and die within 3 weeks? I guess is that what he said?
He could have been talking about COVID.
Yeah, it's a virus.
He said, make sure you take your ivermectin before you have your sex.
Hell, Joe Rogan did.
Yeah.
I know. He's all better now, I guess, dude.
He's an interesting one because I was a huge fan, still a huge fan to a certain extent.
I just watched him with Tom Segura, and he actually talked about, like, I was not taking
ivermectin.
I was not taking ivermectin. I was taking stuff like malaria medicine.
Well,
he's on CNN's the one that fucking spouted saying I'm taking horse medicine.
Well, we watched Alex Jones for our podcast. We watched Alex Jones, who that day had taken ivermectin. Like, he took it on his podcast. I think that's what he said. That's what it was. And he is awesome. And he went on his rant, which we all love, for a good few minutes. And I think he brought up Joe Rogan. So I wonder if maybe that's why CNN was like, Joe Rogan's doing ivermectin.
He's a very Jones is a very outspoken person.
Yeah.
But a lot of the shit that he's brought up in the past is actually true.
Yeah. He was the first one to really bring up Epstein, right?
Yeah.
He really rubs people the wrong way, but some of the shit, if you can get through the rant, you hear it, and I'm like, all right, this guy has some valid. Yeah, it's the voice, and it's just like how we deliver certain things on stage, of like depending how you deliver it is gonna, depending how you deliver some information, it like is everything like delivery, and that guy just doesn't have the best delivery sometimes. Yeah. I'm not backing him. He's wild. Whatever. I'm usually like devil's advocate on everything anyway. Yeah. People hate me for that, but I'm like, I don't know anything.
It's funny today that
their body, their choice.
People try and put people into an absolute category. Oh, this guy's an asshole. He's a bad person. He's the shit because he served in the army. Or,
and we only
he's the
see
best.
like a tiny portion of these people too.
People are, most of the time, they're not all the way good or all the way bad. They're people. Most of us try and walk that line of doing unto others as you would have done unto you, but we all fail here and there because we're human.
Yes, we are not infallible, and there's so much gray area, and people want things to be in like black or white. And it's like, no, there's not that. Even on these serial killer podcasts, and I love psychology, is like, even when we talk about serial killers or mental illness or anything with drug addiction, like everybody has their own relationship with any substance or whatever. So by saying, oh, they're this kind of drug addict, does not mean that they have the same experience as somebody else who is like in that category. Like, you can't pathologize everything to an absolute because we are all so different and like ever changing, I guess, which is cool. We got Mark, let's see. Oh, Nathan Todd asked John about his Air Monarch dad shoes. Oh, is he wearing? I like your shoes. I want to run in these.
These are some Nike running shoes, but Nathan Todd.
Nathan's awesome. Shout out to him.
Nathan Todd, one of the very fine comics here in Albuquerque. he is referring to my dad basketball shoes. I have some Air Monarchs, and these things are pretty big. They're like 90s basketball shoes that you can still find.
Yes.
And I didn't know they were dad shoes until Nathan Todd pointed them out to me. And then I looked at magazines and stuff, and sure enough, they were dad shoes. But they're comfortable for my feet.
That's all that matters. Comfort is everything at a certain age.
And I will also say that I don't know any other 43-year-olds that still run the cement basketball court at 95-degree weather. So
I saw you run a lot, and I think you live, if I'm not wrong, you live up near Trans Mountain somewhere up there, because I did a delivery once, and I didn't know you this well before during COVID. I did a delivery and saw you running.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I would stop if I knew him better, but I at that point was like, I don't know, I won't stop and scare him. But I saw you up there. I was like, man, and it was warm. It was summertime. I was like, he is going. Oh, Nathan Todd. Speaking of dad shoes. Okay, we're about to wrap this up because I have to go. So But Nathan Todd actually knows my dad really well.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, I didn't mean to be creepy, but I know your dad. I'm like, because my dad used to work at Petroglyphs, cough drop, shout out to him. And Nathan he did some sort of something for the city planning.
Oh, yeah.
So anytime they have to do trail, whatever, they have to talk to the city and the tribes. And my dad and him would go on 10-mile hikes together and just talk about life.
Oh,
they went on multiple hikes. I'm like, you know my dad better than I do.
And quick shout out to Marco Morales, who says that Here I Go Again by Whitesnake. One of the classic videos. In fact, was it Tawny Katian? Did she recently pass?
Yes.
She recently
did.
passed.
You're right.
Yeah,
I was just reading about that. She was hot as a kid. I was like, she was a music video chick. Shout out to her. So we do have to wrap this up. I could talk to you for a lot longer. You're going to have to come back. That hour flew by.
That's how you know it was a good podcast.
Right?
Because you're like, oh, wow, it's already over.
I don't even know if we got to the meat of it. We talked about some fun shit. Things to plug. Do you have...
Let's see here. So I'm going to be hosting the Dirty Show for the Albuquerque Comedy Festival.
Oh.
The Funny Fest.
The Funny Fest.
Yeah, so that should be
The
cool.
Dirty Show.
That's October 22nd, I believe.
Okay.
I'm not sure who else is on that, but that sounds like it's going to be a good time. And then in November, I'm not sure anyone is going to be out there, but in Tucumcari, I believe we're going to have a gig at the convention center, so
fuck yeah,
that should be fun. Tucumcari or Amarillo, I guess I should probably check because they're not the same place.
It's all that way near Texas.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then of course Potential Problems podcast. You know, you can find almost any comedian. Especially Troy Wilson on there. We did an episode with him at one point. Yeah,
I didn't watch that one. It's a fun podcast. I watched a lot of them.
Yeah, and it was fun. He brought some whiskey. We got all ripped.
I need to watch that one.
he got really ripped, and
good.
so did we. It was fun.
Shout out to Troy. He does have a show right now.
Oh yeah,
starting
that's
at Rebel.
him and Steph.
And somebody I think from out of town. Free show
from El Paso.
Yeah. Oh, I don't. Did I know him? Anyway, Marco might know him. But he's here. Okay, I think that's all the whatever is. Yeah. Oh, yeah, CarlaVasquezComedy.com for all my dates. Doing a show this weekend in Santa Fe. I have more dates at the end of the month. Cities of Gold, Canteen. Yay. Look up the website, CarlaVThinksOutLoud.com as well. See all the videos, the YouTube. We'll be here next week. So next week we have Cooking with Homeboy. Look him up. His name's Tunes. He does the weed market festivals and things.
Oh, cool.
We'll have him next week. It will be a pre-recorded because a schedules and things. But we're going to him, so it'll be a remote interview. But will be shot live at 6 p.m. next Wednesday, even if it's not live. And I will be commenting with you guys because that's always fun when it's not a live one. Yeah, I guess that's all the.
Thanks again, man. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for being here, and it was last minute. I really appreciate you. You're the best, John. Yeah, support local comedy, support podcasters, all that jazz. See you guys next week. I'm Carla Vasquez. He is
John Cuellar.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Patty.
Woo. That was fun, man.